It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee. Frankly, it couldn't be any better. Mid-60s, bright sunshine, all is well. Well, most all is well. We say hello to Kelly Holcomb.
All right, George, you're starting already. Why you got to start on me already?
How was that for an intro?
Yeah, well, I told Billy yesterday. I mean, enough of the intro. We got to fix it. Fix it, Billy.
But you got baby steps right now. I mean,
he is kind of a baby at times. I agree.
Billy, your reaction?
Why do you have to start every show so combative? Is there ever a
Will there ever be a day where you're supporting me?
Kelly's starting World War III.
Here's the deal. I told people this all the time, Billy. When I stop messing with you, I really don't care anymore. But when I do mess with you, it's a term of endearment, man. It means I love me some Billy Derrick, which I really do. I mean, I've grown accustomed to seeing him every day. Sometimes his little softness and phoniness rub off, but it's all good.
I like it.
Yeah, a little bit.
So what I think he just gave you was the 5th place trophy in an 8-team field. We thank you for being with us here at the Aloha Bowl.
Yeah.
It was wonderful having you. Don't let the door hit you in the butt.
I wouldn't go 5th, George. I'd say maybe 4th.
Maybe 4th. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the road. Yeah.
May have won one of the first 2 games.
Correct.
Okay.
Who knows?
So, before we go any farther, a coach that you really love is coming on the show today. Former Tampa Bay Buck and former Super Bowl winning coach, Bruce Arians. You think the world of him, don't you?
He's my guy, man. There's always a guy that you have to have in your corner. And Bruce was in my corner. Tom was in my corner. He was in my corner as well. But Tom, I wish he's on the show because Tom will say, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But Bruce is one of those guys that he's one of my I love Bruce. Like Bruce and Tom are my 2 guys. I was able to go to Bruce's golf tournament. He had a golf tournament outside of Atlanta. I think it's Gainesville, Georgia is where he lives. And it's like in between Augusta and Atlanta. And I was able to stand up because Tom was there, and I was able to stand up and I was able to speak, and I was kind of able to, tell him just how much he meant to me. Him and Tom mean the world to me. Yeah. And Bruce, I had him when I was in Indianapolis, and then when he went to Cleveland, he took me with him, and I just can't thank that guy enough because you have to have a guy in your corner like that in the National Football League, and if you don't, it's kind of tough to succeed in that league, and he was certainly that guy for me.
Has he heard you do Tom Moore?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll get he's going to come on today, and I'm going to say, well, how's my man Tom Moore doing?
So has Tom Moore heard you do Tom Moore?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I've said it in front of Tom before. Absolutely.
Right. Because it was a little bit of a surprise years ago. I kept hearing that Kevin Ingram was imitating me and that he was regaling the Nashville Sounds press box. And finally I got up the nerve one day to say, okay, you blankety blank, let's hear it. And he broke out in it. And Billy, as you know, he's got
really
it down.
Good at it.
He's got it down pretty good. Yeah.
So you liked it. You didn't get all offended though, right?
Oh, good Lord, no. No,
Okay,
I'm
all
not
right, all right.
bothered by that at all. And now I've heard some Kevin Ingram wannabes that I'm like, please,
No
you're
good.
not even. No, you're
I'll
not
say
even
Big Joe Dubin has a decent one. I've heard his
of me.
of yours. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've really heard it.
Oh, you need to.
Really?
Yeah.
Kevin studies mannerisms. He's really good at that.
Yeah, I feel like
Kevin,
if you're mad, if you get mad or annoyed by that, it kind of ruins it. You know,
no.
it's like that person doesn't want to do it anymore, and then
well, I'm
would-
going to tell y'all this. When I was in Indianapolis, and y'all know who the coach was, I'm not going to say the name, but he got up there and he had a rant one time. You know who I'm talking about, and he's on a commercial now with that rant. But one of my
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
one of my DBs, one of my DB friends, Jason Belzer, got up there, and it was hilarious. Right before one of the team meetings, he got up there and he gave one of those, hey, we're not gonna do that around here. We just don't do business like that. And he walked in, and it
How did
was
he
not
feel
good.
about it?
Oh, it was not good for JB, man. He tore him up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got to have a sense of humor. One of the best ones that got pulled. Kevin used to do what he called the audio diary, which was a daily chat with me and Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy breathing. And so I pulled Jeff aside one day. I said, "Are you aware of what's going on?" Well, he didn't know. And I said, "We are going to bust his butt someday down the road." And Jeff was like, "Let's do it." Well, it turned out that 1045, the first year we were there, had an awards dinner. And Fisher was going to be there. And so I pull him aside and I said, "This is the time. We're doing it." And so I had some role in the deal, and I get up and I said, "Jeff, if you would please come up here." And he comes up and I said, "Kevin, if you would please stand." I said, "Jeff and I are well aware that you've been doing this behind our back for months." And I said, "Jeff would really like to hear this." "Oh, no, and all that. And Jeff was like, "Oh, come on, big boy." And then all of a sudden he breaks into it, and it was hilarious. I mean, it had the room in stitches.
Kevin is awesome. Like, I used to do those Thursday night games with him, and I haven't seen. I saw, the first time I've seen him in years was at Bob Hyde's funeral. And Kevin is such a nice guy, and he's such a
Way too nice
soft-spoken
for
guy.
very
us.
unassuming.
He's way too nice, man. But he does such a good job on that stuff. And like when you don't meet him and you hear him on the radio, like his voice and his body do not match. You don't think that that's Kevin, but he's so good at what he does. And I enjoyed hanging around Kevin for like 3 or 4 years, man. That was pretty cool doing those Thursday night light games.
He's got, I don't know how many, but for me, Krzyzewski is his best one, although a listener here is talking about Patino, and he's got Patino down really good because he's always talking about what is the restaurant in Louisville that he got caught in?
I know what you're talking about.
Porcini's or something like that. Anyway, some funny stuff. Billy, I'm going to assume here
I've got an update.
that you have an update.
Billy, do we have an update?
Do we have an update?
We do. The Preds.
Is it a good one? I mean, has it got any meat on the bone?
It's got a lot of meat on the bone.
Kelly has told me we got to have meat on the bone.
There's a lot of meat on the
Okay.
bone in this one. Start with the
we'll see.
Preds.
Yes.
They scored 3 straight goals and then held on for a 5-3 win last night in Vegas. Kevin Lankinen made 23 saves in his first start since January 27th. And the Preds are back rolling. Yossi and McDonough each had a couple of assists. They got a tough one tomorrow, but that was a huge win last night.
LA Kings tomorrow night. Guy is going to join us in a little while, and we're going to hear about one of the things Barry Trotz did after the Dallas debacle that may have led to this, because all of a sudden they played Jersey last Tuesday night and stink up the joint. Should have gotten beat 9-2. Then on Thursday night, they do get beat 9-2. You probably could have fried an egg on Barry's head And I think he got the point across that he's tired of this crap, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, go to red hot St. Louis and win, go to one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, Vegas, and dominate. Some message has gotten through. We'll find out what it is.
Hey, when you go into the locker room as a GM and you say you're all being evaluated right now, that sticks a little poke up your rear end there, brother. I promise you.
There was a little more to it than that.
Well, and I think this proves the Preds are they're a better team than we might have thought after that 9-2 loss. It was all bad. Preds are done. No playoffs for them.
You ready for a stat?
Let's hear it.
This is called show prep, Billy.
Oh, nice.
Since November 24th, it says here, the Preds road record, 13-4-2.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Now,
that's not bad.
did I compute that?
No,
I didn't.
No.
Did a friend of mine? Yes.
The Preds now 4 games above 500, 29-25. They got 2 ties, and they are in LA tomorrow night. Meanwhile, in college hoops, Tennessee escaped Missouri last night with a 5-point win in one of the uglier first halves of basketball I've ever seen in my life. It was 24-23 at the half. Missouri was playing pretty well, but, Tennessee wasn't doing anything. Dalton Connect finally went off, and that's the difference. If they don't have Dalton Connect, even against Vandy, they might have losses to Vandy in Missouri. They gave it to him and said, "Hey, go win this game." He hit one from St. Louis.
Now,
from about
from like
30 feet out.
The boot heel.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of y'all have heard the term football coaches. We're going to lay it on the line, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just got through seeing, what was the movie? Wildcats. Coach Bud Kilmer.
Gosh.
Okay. Lay it on the line. The dictionary definition of lay it on the line was last night's TCU Texas Tech game. Anybody see it?
I did not.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Unbelievable. You talk about from beginning to end. There was an intensity that you don't get in November.
Yeah, that was a big one. Arkansas knocked off A&M, and all of a sudden A&M is in the dumper. I don't think they're making the tournament.
Buy low, sell high.
Yeah, Creighton knocked off UConn last night after we're praising UConn for being the number 1 team in the country. Kind of similar,
George.
Kind of similar to when Tennessee beat Memphis in 2008, and then they had to go play Vandy, and they lost after being number 1 for 2 days.
Here's my message to UConn. What the hell? I go off yesterday in this. UConn is at this level, and everybody else
is here.
Except for Creighton, who happened to get into that little guard. What did he hit, about 15 threes?
Yeah, Creighton can flat out shoot it. They got shooters everywhere in a really good Big East. UConn was on a 14-game win streak, so they snapped that. It wasn't even close, really.
Second
Creighton
half, really.
Creighton put it on them. And how about this? Creighton, I think they forgotten. I say forgotten. It's kind of, they're in Omaha, right? Or no?
They're
in Omaha.
They're across the street from the College World Series.
They play their
park.
baseball there. But McDermott, their head coach, he got his 600th career win last night. And they have beaten a top 10 team in 9 straight years. So every year he's got this big win, usually at home over a top 10 team. And they also clinched a 20-win season for the 9th year in a row. So this is one of the more underappreciated programs in the country.
There was a day and time where 3 of the most underrated gyms, snake pits to play in, were Wichita State, Creighton, Vandy.
Oh, okay.
That day is.
Hey, that dude's Creighton coach is really good, man. Do you think he leaves though, George? I know that you said.
I don't know.
I just don't. You get a guy like that's been there for so long, and he can do everything he wants to at Creighton. He's won games. He goes to the NCAA tournament. It all depends on what you want and what your goal in life is. If he wants to go get paid more, and I don't know. Everything that he wants to accomplish, he's accomplished at Creighton, and it seems like you just get. I don't know if you get satisfied, but that's just all you want. You just love coaching kids. You're making good money. You're in the NCAA tournament. Some people like that.
To me, it's more, can you win a national title at Creighton? Because you can at Ohio State. Creighton, I don't think so.
Yeah, but
it's a really good feel good story, Billy, and they got great fan support.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for if you're McDermott. If you are thinking maybe, if he gets a job opportunity, I'm hearing Ohio State is looking at Miller, Sean Miller.
Yeah, Sean Miller's name's come up. The guy at South Carolina.
That would be a spot. Would he leave for Ohio State? That's
Sean Miller.
No, not Miller, but McDermott. Is that a job that?
Who knows? He has not called me with an answer.
But after the game, after the game, I don't know if y'all saw, but Dan Hurley walked off the court and he was talking to a fan and he said he's going to knock them out. He said, and it was caught on Twitter. He said something to the effect of "I'll knock you out" to one of the Creighton fans.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
after the game, that's not the best look for your head coach.
No, but here's what ends up happening. Okay, because there's a classic one that Mark Griffin has told on Patino, where a fan spent the entire game doing nothing.
Yeah.
But that, and Patino at the end, when
turned around,
his team pulled it out, told the fan to
bleep.
It's one of the reasons you see sometimes police taking a coach out of the main floor of the gym.
Well, I don't like it because as a coach, you're sinking to that fan's level. I mean,
Look, I'm sure we all have our breaking point. Billy, if Kelly sat here all day long and did nothing but complain about you, at some point you would, if you physically could, would turn around and want to beat the hell out of him. I believe everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah.
I've challenged the fan before.
Oh, do you want to tell us about it?
It was the whole game, and I can't remember where it was.
Hold on. Let's do that at the end of the 2:00 hour.
All right.
Okay.
We'll wait.
Embellish that story later.
You had another upset. BYU is a pretty good team. They're fresh in the top 25.
That's no upset.
They beat Baylor at home.
Here's another of the really good games last night, Billy. Utah State over San Diego State.
I was going to mention that.
Shame on me for not taking Utah State.
Those home early Tuesday night games where you're playing a ranked team, I feel like that home team's got to be close to unbeaten. We've seen so many of those. But we got some news with the Chiefs parade. 2 adults have been charged with murder. Yesterday, Missouri prosecutors said that they've been charged with murder. Let's see here. 2nd-degree murder, 2 counts of armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon.
These are not the 2 juveniles that are being held. This is 2 separate.
So this is additionally.
So what they've been able to do is get some really good film footage from somewhere.
Yeah.
And they've been able to go kind of frame by frame, which it can be an exhausting process, but good for them.
Yeah. Also in the NFL, lastly here, I don't know if y'all saw, Antonio Pierce came out and he joined Max Crosby's podcast. And he said he told his guys before they played Kansas City this year on Christmas Day that they need to hate the color red. And he showed them videos of famous boxing fights and how the Pistons, the bad boy Pistons, approached playing Michael Jordan in the 80s with a tough defensive game plan that was devised by Chuck Daly. He said on the podcast, we've got the Jordan rules, and what I'm calling from now on, as long as I'm here, the Patrick Mahomes rules. So you remember when Jordan was going through it with the Pistons, all those guys in the 80s, before he became Michael Jordan, the Pistons used to whip his, you-know-what. Anytime he came
I don't know what. Whip.
You might as well say it.
What?
Billy.
Y'all said
he's gotten in enough trouble.
I had a cuss word last time.
Yeah, the
said,
FCC has called me wanting to talk to me about this.
But anyway, Antonio Pierce is made up the Mahomes rules. When I like it. I like it too. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll like it until payback is up.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yes. Rhymes with itch. Are we done?
We are done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do we grade the update?
It's okay. I thought it was okay. I thought it had a little meat on the bone. I did. I like it.
I just wanted to see if you were approved.
That's what matters.
I like
Kelly
God
approves.
knows we're all beholden to what you think. After the break,
Correct.
Mark McGee will join us, and we'll get into what Barry Trotz, what button did he push that suddenly has the Preds going, maybe they're not dead yet. Stay tuned.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, it was last Thursday night that I walked out of Bridgestone Arena at the end of the second period. The Preds were getting trounced by Dallas and basically said, that's it. But something has happened since then. Road win at hotter than a firecracker St. Louis, and a road win against one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league, the Vegas Golden Knights, a game the Predators really dominated for the first couple of periods. Mark McGee joins us for the weekly visit. Gee, how are you?
Doing great, George. Hope you're doing well.
So the suspicion was that when the game was over, that Barry Trotz was going to be furious last Thursday night. and it sounds like he went off. Talk to me about what we've learned there.
Well, he decided when he was a coach, he decided what to get players' attention was by staying them down, not giving them playing time. Well, this time around, he decided to not let them go out on a vacation day on the road. They were the team and the staff that already got tickets. They were going to see U2 in a concert at the Sphere in Vegas. They were going to fly out after the St. Louis game so they'd have the time to do it. And Barry basically said, "No U2 for you. You're coming back home after the St. Louis game, then you fly out to Las Vegas the next day."
I love it.
So they did not. No, they did not. So that was like his basic statement was, I think, that he told Elliot Freeman that, if your players aren't playing up to their standard, then why should you reward them?
So, Guy, let me ask you this. Was his knowledge of this that Andrew Brunette told him, hey, this is all they're interested in? How did he find out about Vegas?
Well, I'm sure Andrew Burnett told him about it. I mean, well, the whole staff had tickets. I mean, it was pretty much well known that the team was going to do this. They'd planned this. They had tickets for everybody, including the staff that was on the trip. So it was no secret thing, I don't think.
Okay, look, I've got no problem with, the day before a game or whatever, the go out to Vegas part. But isn't this where a Roman Yossi as a captain, seeing that on Tuesday night they were getting mauled and only UC's miracles kept it to 4-2, and now all of a sudden Thursday night they get the crap kicked out of them? Isn't that where you've got to have a captain with some what to basically walk in and do what a captain's supposed to do?
Well, I think so. I mean, Yossi's been quoted as saying after losses, we've been outworked and outbattled. Well, as the captain, you should be able to talk to your team about why they're getting outworked and outbattled and help to decide what's going wrong with the team and fix it.
Okay, so now all of a sudden, you're not going to Vegas early. You don't have to worry about what goes on in Vegas because you're not going for a while. So they respond by going to St. Louis and winning, and going last night to Vegas and really dominating the first two periods. Where do you think this leaves it all now as Barry tries to figure out, what do I do at the deadline?
Interesting, because really, when you look at it, the Los Angeles Kings, of course, are fighting for their lives, not fighting for their lives. They're fighting for a high spot in the Pacific Division, and they've been up and down. They play Los Angeles next, then they go up north to San Jose and come back down to Anaheim. San Jose is one of the worst teams in the league, maybe the worst, I think, right now. Chicago and San Jose are pretty close, neck and neck. And then you got Anaheim, which is no great shakes either. So those are games they should win, even though they're road games from that standpoint. So if they come back from this road trip 5-0, maybe you look at things differently. I don't know. And then you've got Ottawa coming in first game back at home, which they struggled with Ottawa just a couple weeks ago in Ottawa, but it was a really strange road trip that they were ending. And as far as distance goes, and so I don't know how much that game can be looked at, but Ottawa is a team that also should be an easier mark for them to play against than maybe St. Louis or Las Vegas or whatever. So,
Guy, one thing I've noticed, if you're trying to look on the sunny side of where they are, we're going to show the standings here in a minute in the battle for the 8th and final spot. The truth of it is their March schedule, especially the first half of March, is way easier.
Yeah, they're kind of coming into a softer part of the schedule. They played a pretty rough schedule overall, but yeah, it's set up for them to still make it. To play. I mean, everybody's still talking about them as being a second wild card pick. But I know you haven't standings up yet, but you got the Blues tied with the Predators. The Blues have a game on the Predators, so that really, I guess, they technically are ahead of them. You have the Wilds still hanging around at 58, and the Kings I think have 60, and the Kraken and Flames both have 57. So in the Pacific Division. So, but I would think that that if they can win these, like I said, if they come out this road trip 5-0, that's going to be a huge boost because obviously Barry got their attention.
Good for him, and it doesn't surprise any of us who know him. So, Kelly, you have accused me in the past of taking all your material, and I'm very sensitive to that.
George, this is the second week you've said that. I mean, you did it one time.
Mm-hmm.
You did it one time. Don't keep belaboring the point. Now let's move on. Let's build a bridge and get over it. Okay. I mean,
Okay.
goodness gracious.
So I have left the elephant in the room for you.
What's
Take
the elephant in the room? I don't know what the elephant in the room. I want to know.
Called C. Soros trade.
That's what that's what I'm about to ask. Like, why in the world? Like, I don't understand this goalie stuff. Like, what are we seeing from the Lackinen kid getting the goal, getting the start last night? What's happening with all that, Mark?
Well, I think that's also helping get Saros' attention too. I mean, he was pulled after giving up 4 goals against Dallas on 18 shots, and that was the 5th time this year he's been pulled. He's right in the middle right now of his worst ever statistical numbers in 9 years in the NHL and 3 as a full-time starter. So and he's really, this has not been his year. He's had his moments, but it's not been his year overall. And right now, I mean, the trade talk's still buzzing around him now, but what Barry wants is kind of it's going to be hard for somebody to match that. Supposedly, he was talking to Tom Fitzgerald, ironically a former Preds captain. So from reports up in New Jersey, I'm getting this hearsay from reports up in New Jersey that he was asking New Jersey for a first-round pick, a prospect, and a player with some offensive uptick. So at least. And that might be too rich for some people's blood because I really think probably 2 first-round picks or a first-round pick and a second-round pick plus a prospect plus a player with offensive uptick is what really he should be asking for. And a lot of people are thinking he's asking for such a high price that maybe he's not all that sold on trading sales right now. He might wait till the summer to see what kind of deal they can make for next after his present contract's over with next year. They might go ahead and try to work on that, or they might maybe get a better deal for him in the summer from that situation. But so I don't really know. A lot of people are thinking now that Barry's saying I'm listening to people. I mean, Pierre LeBrun, Elliot Friedman, all these people that keep up with this on a pretty tight basis. Eklund, who is quoted by a lot of people, they're all saying that Saros is they are talking about trade possibilities and talk about the New Jersey Devils, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Edmonton Oilers, even the Los Angeles Kings. So I really seriously doubt they trade him to the Kings or to the Oilers, either one, since they're all in the same conference. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of people are thinking, Barry's saying he's listening to conversations. If somebody offers him an offer he can't refuse, then he'll trade Saros. But it's got to be an offer he can't refuse. And right now, really, what was said in New Jersey is so, a lot of people are going to be wanting to pay that type of price.
So, Guy, I'm not sure how to ask this, but like, is it like a game being played right now with Barry Trotz with him? Because I've seen this happen in the National Football League before, and like, I mean, could this be a ploy like to bring the price down some?
To bring what price down?
Just
His
bring,
salary
just
down?
bring no, not his salary, but his value in the league. Like, I mean, if you sit him, I mean, could that drive? Like, maybe if they want to keep him, they just, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, could that drive his availability for other teams down a little bit with him sitting like that?
Yes, that's a good point, Kelly. Also, a lot of people were saying things like the Dallas game the other night are not helping his marketability. A lot of people are thinking that maybe, the longer they wait, especially once he perks back up again, the longer they wait, his market value may go down drastically and may be going down drastically. A lot of teams after that Dallas game may have said, well, yeah, we were willing to bet the farm on him, but now I'm not so sure. So one game should make a difference like that. But he's had some, like I say, it's the fifth time he's been pulled this year. So a lot of people feel like he's slipping in the market to some extent.
See, and that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. And obviously, with them going on his streak and with Lackinen playing so good, I mean, obviously they feel like maybe he can do it better than Soros is doing it right now.
Well, Lackinen has his moments. I don't know that I want to have Lackinen as an everyday goaltender right now. I mean, he's a solid backup, but I don't know that he's not a starter on a regular basis. I don't think. I just don't see that happening. They bring Askarov down from Milwaukee, I think, before they do that. But like I said, Saros right now, a lot of people are feeling like the market value. Maybe he's not as shiny. He may not be as shiny a model as he was a couple of weeks ago.
So with the way they're playing right now, we're buying in right now. I mean, like George said, last week when they lost 9-2, he walked out and he's like, "There's no way." And now after Barry Trotz did all these moves, obviously they're buying into this stuff and they think they can make a run at getting in the playoffs. Correct?
Well, yeah, I think so. Like I said, they go 5-0 on this road trip, and Western swing road trips are notoriously tough. They've won 2 of the toughest games, really, except for the exception of the Kings. If they win the Kings game, they should be able to drop San Jose and Anaheim without any problems at all, because they're not that strong. But so they come out of that 5-0, and they come in and play a pretty weak home schedule. At least starting out with Ottawa. They're still in it. They're still in it. A lot of people are thinking the playoffs for either conference, Eastern and Western Conference, may not be fully decided until the last game of the season.
So this is my last thing. I've asked this before. Sorry, George, but
go ahead.
What do you think? What do you think the Predators are doing good right now, and what do they need to work on coming up in the next couple of weeks?
They got to get make sure their attitude's consistent. I mean, they came out against the Dallas Stars like they wanted to do anything except play a hockey game, and their minds were definitely not on that game. And it was a disappointing effort on their part against a team they needed to really beat. And so every team they need to beat, but especially somebody like Dallas is in their division. So, I think they've just got to get their minds right and be consistent. They're a young team to a large degree. Like George said, this is where Roman Josi, as captain, steps up and says, "Okay, we need to do this." And Andrew Brunette's coach steps up and says, "I'm tired of telling everybody how disappointed I am with your efforts. Now, you guys have got to come out and play like you really want to play hockey." And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think one thing that was really interesting about the Las Vegas game is I talked a lot about depth and scoring, and Nyquist gets a top line, gets a open net goal at the end. But you look at the scoring in that game. It was Luke Evangelista, Cole Smith, Cody Glass, and Tommy Novak. So those 4 guys are indicative of the depth they need to have to win games. I've been talking about that for 2 or 3 weeks on here. So that depth showed up. Ironically, Glass was the first ever draft pick by the Vegas Knights. So those 4 guys need to lead those second, third, and fourth lines and pick up everything depth-wise, and that's going to make a big difference because right now most teams are really, really concentrating on that top line with Forsberg and O'Reilly and Nyquist. Most teams are putting a lot of effort on stopping those 3 because they weren't sure. They felt pretty good the other guys were going to step up. Well, they all did. The 4 of them did against the Vegas Knights. That's what they got to have. They got to have scoring depth. They had that for a while early on when they were playing fairly well, and they lost that. Maybe they're getting that back right now. Hopefully that's going to be the case. Hopefully this is indicative maybe what these guys will decide to do now.
Gee, I got one thing for you.
That was classic. Yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got something for you to close it out. If you had to pick a guy that is the Preds X factor, it feels like Ryan O'Reilly is a guy when he's playing well, when he's scoring, the Preds are usually winning. Obviously, Philip Forsberg. But who's a guy that people forget about sometimes that you think has to pull through down the stretch if the Preds want to make the playoffs?
Oh, that's a good question. I think defensively they have to step up just in general. I don't know. I don't know one player necessarily. Roman Yossi needs to step up big time. And so for sure, as a captain, this team, he's got to step up both on the ice and off the ice from that standpoint. So I would say Yossi would be my pick right now.
Got it.
Guy will run on that. Thank you so much, as always.
You're welcome, George. Thank you. Y'all good rest of the week. All right.
Mark McGee joining us to talk Preds. After the break, we'll talk about what goes on in a locker room when players are being rumored. If you think about it, it seldom happens in football. It happens all the time in baseball, hockey, hoops. Stick around. We're coming back.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
The folks at Cool Springs MD will be holding an open house Thursday, February the 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. They'll be unveiling the new Empower laser, which is incredible. It will turn back the clock on your body, and it's the only laser indicated for mixed urinary stress incontinence. Turn back the clock and take control of your body with the new Empower laser. They'll unveil it at Cool Springs MD. Hope to see you Thursday night, February the 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
We're back. I want to ask a question where maybe I'm not being fair, but here goes. If I'm Barry Trotz and I find out that a trip to Vegas and the U2 concert and the Sphere and all that stuff is getting in the way of some things, am I not pulling Roman Yossi aside and saying, cut the crap? You're the captain, act like it. It should never have to get to me. Am I being unfair, or is that really the way it ought to be?
That's a tough deal, George. That's a tough deal. Back in the day, we've talked about this before on the show about how in today's world, when I was growing up and you had the Charles Haleys of the world that would, if anything got in the way of winning, he would fight you. There was guys in my locker room at middle that would fight you. If you got them in trouble they would fight you. Nowadays, you don't want to. It's kind of society. You don't want to rock the boat, and I think you could probably say something as a captain, but each to his own. And I don't know. That's a tough one, George. I kind of agree with you because I've said things like that before to people about things that I saw that was going on that just wasn't helping the team. And there was times that I said things. We're in a different world now, and we're in a different deal where nobody wants to step on toes. Nobody wants to step over the line. I'm with you though. I think you have to have you're a captain for a reason. You have to have a beat of your team. And if you're not playing good, I mean, what does that say about him? I mean, he might think, well, we're not going to make the playoffs. Well, let's just live it up. Let's just go play as hard as we can. And then when we're off, let's go do whatever. I kind of like what Barry Trotz did. And it's hard for a player sometimes to do that. But like when it comes from somebody that's above me, it's easier to use them as a scapegoat and say, hey, he's the one that did this. I mean, that's just the way things are right now. But I like what he did. If that's what and obviously it stuck a poker up their rear end because they're playing better.
For the record, Billy, I've been to a U2 concert, and the streets still have no names. Thank you.
I don't get that reference.
Oh my gosh, Billy, look it up, dude. YouTube.
U2, when was U2 in their heyday?
Oh, I
80s, 90s, man. Let's go.
Exactly. I was born in 99.
They've even done it in the 2000s, man. Like they're one of the epic bands of our time, of anybody's time. I mean, figure it out, Hoss.
I'm not as old as y'all's blue hairs. Like I'm not.
I mean, good gracious, dude.
Oh,
this is
you're taking on some water here. This is not going to go well.
Billy. U2? Come on now.
I know who they are, but George expects me to know that reference.
It's one of their best
songs is "The Street Has No Names."
I'll go listen.
I don't think you want me to sing it, but
yeah.
So there were a group of us that got tickets. U2, this has probably been 10 years ago, played at Vanderbilt's football stadium.
Yeah.
And Will Perdue was part of this group, and everybody is standing pretty much the whole concert. I turned to this woman behind Will Perdue and I said, ma'am, how does it feel to be having to look around and over the tallest person in this stadium? Okay, on to locker room stuff.
Yeah.
Here locally, UC Saros' name has been out there for weeks. In baseball, when you get to the trade deadline, most teams have 2 or 3 people that everybody pencils as gone. He's going here. And the writers have gotten really good at basically telling you, and here's who you're going for. So in football, it has not been quite that way. You don't see deadline deals, but help me with this. What is what's the dynamic in a locker room when you got a player who feels like he's on death watch?
Everybody knows it's happening. Everybody knows what's going on, but nobody really wants to talk about it. Like it's not out in the like everybody knows that it's happening. My deal is like you said, like we didn't have. I remember I got traded, but I got traded in training camp, and nobody knew but me. And then I was like, I was gone. I was there at practice, and then Andy Reid called me into his office and in that morning and said, we've traded you to Minnesota. By 3:00, I was on a plane. I had all my luggage and everything. My luggage got lost in the translation of all that stuff.
Because the street had no name.
Correct. Absolutely. So I was gone. But I can remember a situation where, and this wasn't a trade deal, when, one of our the guys that's come on our show a couple of times, Couchy, when Cleveland was trying to get rid of Couchy. And, I was told something, he was told something else. They tried to keep him out of the building, and Couchy, he was like, they're not going to keep me out of the building, man. I'm going to piss everybody off. I'm going to the building, and everybody knew it was going on, and everybody talked, and it was kind of out in the open. But, during the season, it's, I don't know. That's just a tough thing to wade through, George. I think everybody hears the rumors, but once again, it is rumors, and you don't really know, but they know. Everybody knows because they keep up with that stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know if they talked to him or not about it. I don't know if it's open, but like when Cassie was going through his deal, it was straight open because everybody knew. I knew, and I was egging it on too.
Being the good teammate that you are. Okay, guess who's in the on-deck circle?
My guy. Is he there?
Oh, absolutely.
Is he ready?
I think he's already ready.
Nice.
And we're not going to keep him waiting. The man won a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. He could squash the accomplishments of this show. So let's bring him up and find out. I think he's in Georgia somewhere. Bruce, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually down in Tampa.
Hey.
Oh, you're in Tampa?
Yeah, the weather's better for golf down here right now.
True.
I'm gonna ask one thing at the start, and then Kelly, I'll let you take it pretty much as far as you want to. Bruce, Watson Brown's been a part of this show, and Watson, over about a 35, 40-year period, has been like a big brother to me. I was a Vanderbilt announcer at one point when he was there, and he loves you. How did you all get to know each other?
Oh, just the coaching. I actually followed him at Mississippi State one year. And he and Mac, we kind of grew up in this business together. Rick Christopher, who's worked for me for a long time.
Yes, another great one.
Was Watson's right-hand man forever. Rick signed my son to his scholarship at UAB.
Oh, wow. Well, we tried to figure out how to get him on today, but we decided to just keep it the way it is. I know if he knew you were on, he'd want us to say hello from him. So there you go. I'll get in on this later. God bless you for whatever level of crap you have had to put up with Kelly.
It was something. Every day was something new with those guys in that locker room now. Especially in Indianapolis.
I hope you give
it wasn't much better in Cleveland.
No, I was just thinking about that, man. Like, is there a better position meeting room than with me and Couchy and Josh Booty and Nate Hibble? I mean, you got three Southern guys that are all clowns, dude. And we talked about nonsense every day. And I've talked to Tater about it, Coach Smith. And there can't be a better locker room. I mean, I know you went to a bunches, but like we were all clowns, and it was awesome with you and Coach Smith.
I don't think a pencil ever got moved in a notebook in that room. It was just, what do you say? Oh, hell, I don't know. Just go out and play. Just go out and play.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Bruce, how you doing, man? You good?
I'm doing great, baby. Doing great. Had a little shot in my back yesterday. Hopefully it picks up a little bit tomorrow. I'm going to play golf again tomorrow and see how it goes.
Okay. How's your family? Everybody's good?
Everybody's fantastic. Mills just had his 5th birthday party over the weekend. And Chris had her, we won't say what number, but
well, you sent me that picture. Yeah, you sent me that picture over Christmas, man. And you're obviously your wife and everybody's got the pajama deal because my wife does the same thing, and I get so sick of wearing freaking pajamas like everybody else.
Only time I've ever worn pajamas, that picture.
Oh gosh, that's me too. And everybody peer pressures me into doing that with wearing pajamas. And I haven't told George and I haven't told Billy, but I'm going to be a granddaddy here in about 6 months.
Oh,
Congrats.
Hey,
Yeah,
life changes there.
I know my oldest daughter's pregnant, and I saw your grandkids in the picture, and I was just like, yeah, I got to tell Bruce that my daughter's pregnant.
Oh, that is fantastic. I know you guys will be ecstatic when the baby comes.
Absolutely. So I was going to show everybody just a quick prop. I told those guys yesterday that I was in the book,
Yeah,
the quarterback whisperer. And I was thinking to myself, you coach some pretty good quarterbacks, and I don't know if I'm gonna put myself in there, but
I would.
you had Peyton, you had Tom, you had Carson, you had Andrew Luck, you had Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, that's a group of 5 right there. And it's in the book, but what, in your opinion, just tell our audience what makes a quarterback go in the National Football League?
I call it grit. I mean, you got to have grit. You got to be able to lead men. Obviously, you have to know what you're doing. But all those guys, I don't care what game they're playing, they hate to lose. Whether it's golf, tiddlywinks, horseshoes, they hate losing. And they have the ability to will themselves on the other guys not to lose.
So I don't want to compare guys, but just go down. What was good about Ben? What was the thing about Ben that you remember that was so good about Ben?
Ben ran the no huddle as good. We had that same no huddle we all had, but he ran it to perfection. And we'd always have a bet. I think he messed it up, but my script, if he scored better first calling the plays, or if I called the plays and scored a touchdown, I think he sabotaged me half the time. But Ben was just, again, unbelievable athlete. His strength in the pocket and ability to move around was unbelievable. Each one of those guys has something so different. Peyton, and Tom are similar. They had to every rock unturned before Sunday. Every question had to be answered before they could play that game. Ben, Andrew were just the opposite. Just let me play. Andrew was kind of a combination of all those guys. He's brilliant. He's athletic. It's a shame his career ended so early because, he was one of the best I've ever seen.
Really? What about Carson? What would you like about Carson?
You're going to build a passer. You build Carson Palmer. That thing was so pretty coming up, especially the deep ball. That thing was so pretty. I can remember being on the sideline when he was in Cincinnati, and it was when he got hurt. He threw a dime 50 yards to Henry, the receiver, and I thought we were going to lose the game. All of a sudden I looked back, and he's on the ground and tore his knee up. I don't think we win that game if he plays that whole game.
Yeah, so, it took you a long time. I can remember I thought you always needed to be, I just talked about how you had to have somebody in your corner, but I thought you always deserved to be a head coach. And it kind of got long in your career, and then Chuck got sick in Indianapolis, and you became an interim guy, and then you go to Arizona, and you do really well at Arizona, and then you go to Tampa, and you win a Super Bowl at Tampa. Was that your best team collectively in Tampa? Or just think about your teams and the best teams that you had. Was that one of them? Obviously, it was one of them, but was that your best one?
Yeah, I think so. The NFC Championship team in Arizona was pretty solid, too. We just didn't play very well against Carolina that night in the championship game. But, no, the combination of speed on defense, ability to score, and we averaged 30 points a game the year we won the Super Bowl. I think when everybody looks at how do you beat the Chiefs, nobody's scoring any points. We scored 31 and chased Pat all over the field. So that team's looking better and better now in the history books because they're the only team to ever beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
That's true. What do you think about Patrick Mahomes? Just describe him. What do you think about him?
Just don't give him the ball last. You're going to lose every time. I don't care what you're going to lose. He's going to find a way to win. And the things even in our game, he was running to his left, tripped, was flat, and threw a ball 40 yards, hit the guy right in the face mask. And I'm like, this ain't over till we get the last interception. And we were ahead by 20s, but it didn't feel that way playing against him.
This is going to be kind of redundant because people are going to get tired of hearing me say this stuff, and I'm going to ask you some questions that I always ask. But when I went out to Arizona and you were there, and I brought my son over there and we talked, I could and these guys don't understand, but you can only have 14 padded practices, full padded practices in the National Football League, and I know you're not a big fan of that. Do you think that it's affected the productivity of the game?
Totally, and I think that's why we have more injuries. Guys don't practice football. They practice in shorts all the time. You don't play the game in shorts. You have to learn how to hit. Tackling is the worst thing that's ever. I've never seen it as bad as it is in college and in the National Football League now because you can't practice tackling except for preseason games. And, the fundamentals of the game are getting lost with schematics and analytics.
So I asked this right when I first got on the show, the state of football. And I talked to some kids one time and I talked to some people. But if you look at high school involvement and where it was like in 2010 to where it is now, I think it's like over 100,000 kids that they're void of anymore. Like kids are not playing high school football like they used to. And Coach Donnelly, which is my college coach, and my Coach Robbins, quarterback coach, we've always talked about this, but I worry about the state of football. Like right now, it's the greatest game in the world. I mean, it's the NFL's up there, college football, which we'll get into that in a sec, but everybody's watching it. But how much longer can they sustain this with the numbers dropping like it is?
Yeah, I think it's kind of dropping in certain areas of the country and growing in others. Because when you look now, I mean, one of the things I don't like, high school football is year round. I mean, in Alabama, they've got spring practice the whole summer. You know, it's like OTAs the whole summer. Kids need a break. Guys should have a break. And let them play another sport. But I think it's in some areas of the country booming, and other country. I think lacrosse has taken over for a lot of guys that are used to play high school football that might have been 5'8", 180, 160, and they played in the offensive line because they love playing football, but now they're playing lacrosse.
I got you. So I'm going to go on my college deal here now. We got to get on this because I ask everybody this, and I want to know, give me your state of college football right now, man, because the NIL, the transfer portal, I mean, I can remember being in college. You know, you had guys transfer in, but now, I mean, it's easy. Like used to be, it'd be an act of God to transfer. I mean, you had to get stuff written in blood on paper, and now it's so easy.
Yeah, I'm a fan of NIL, but there needs to be a salary cap. It's gotten totally out of control already.
Correct.
And when we did it, when the NCAA allowed it, they didn't have the rules set. I hate the portal. We're teaching kids to quit. That when it gets tough now, you just quit and go somewhere else. I hate that. Guys have to learn how to fight, and I'm not talking about fist fighting. I'm talking about fighting for your life and your job and earning something. That's not happening anymore. 27,000 kids entered the portal, and all it is trying to get paid. I mean, you know, the conglomerates. That's the worst thing in the world is the conglomerates. They got a list of how much each guy's worth, and you got to give them NIL money. And I think it's going to drive it. It drove some good coaches out this year, and I think it's going to drive more out.
Yeah, I've always said, and I've said it, like I remember being in college and there's guys that come from underprivileged backgrounds and they needed something. I mean, a scholarship is great, but like they need to go out and have gas and take a girl to eat and go to the theater and do things like that. I always believe that. But when you're getting a guy $2 million to play college football for 1 year, I mean, the system is totally messed up. And I was talking to Tom about it, and I'm with you. The transfer portal is killing me because there's nobody fighting anymore. And what happens to those kids that have that is transferred 3 times, 4 times? I always use JT Daniels because he transferred 4 times. But like, what happens when he gets to the National Football League and then he stares competition right in the face? What's going to happen to him?
They won't make it because they can't handle it. It's been given to them, and they don't know how to work for it anymore. And I think what's going to happen in the NCAA or whatever, whoever takes over college football, it's not going to be the NCAA anymore. You're going to sign a contract and you're going to have a salary cap, just like the NFL. And there won't be any transferring anymore unless we let you out of the contract. And there might even be trades. You know, I just see that. I see the NFL coming down to big college football, and I don't see that being in the NCAA.
Well, what happens to the team? What happens to the schools like my school, like Middle Tennessee, like Troy, like, you know, UAB that Jake played at? What happens to those schools that's got pretty good programs, but like they're going to get left out?
Well, I think that'll be college football. And but what's the problem now is if you're really good at one of those schools, somebody's recruiting you off campus already to go somewhere. You know, I look at Virginia Tech, and we lost some kids a couple of years ago that had no business leaving, and now we have NIL. So we kept everybody at Virginia Tech this year. So it's going to be, you know, and I'll say it's, if I'm at a small college and I'm a star and I get offered $2 million to go to Alabama or Auburn or anybody in the SEC, I can't hold that against them, you know, but it's killing those college football programs. And you see guys like the head coach of Georgia State, he got out. go back to be a position coach because he's tired of NIL and the portal.
Well, what do you think about all these conferences realigning? Like the Pac-12 is no more, and I'm afraid that what's going to happen is if Florida State keeps raising the ruckus, you're going to get Clemson and North Carolina, and they're probably going to go to the Big Ten. Like, what are they going to? They go up and just do away with the ACC too? Like, what do you think about the conference realignment stuff?
I'm not a fan of Stanford and Cal being in the ACC. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
I'm not talking about just football. I'm talking about the budget to send 20 sports over to California from the East Coast. I think you're going to end up with 4 super conferences, and eventually, and then that's where you playoff. The top 12 teams of those conferences will go play in a playoff. But man, there's so much money involved with college football right now that was never there. Billions of dollars in TV contracts. And, I never thought we'd see guys playing Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Friday night was always high school football. Now there's college football on TV.
Yeah, and the NCAA, it always pisses me off because the NCAA says, we're all about the kids. But when you got Stanford going to Rutgers, you're not really all about the kids. And when you got Stanford volleyball going to play, Ohio State across the country, you're not really about the kids. So I don't know. Where do you see the NCAA? I think they're going to be null and void at some point. You?
No, totally. I think if they try to pass any kind of rules that prohibit things the SEC, the ACC, and the Big Ten don't like, or Big 12, they're just going to go. They're going to pull out and create what used to be the College Football Association, and I see that happening again soon.
Well, I'm going to let George, but I'm going to tell you this. My wife told me today, I don't know, Mike Sellers, when Mike Sellers is struggling with his health. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's had like a bunch of procedures on his health, and she said that she was looking for prayers because he's struggling for his life right now. So that was kind of sad to me. She just told me that about 3 years ago when I told her I was going to tell you. So
prayers for him, man. What a great dude.
Yeah, he was an awesome dude. So George, I'll give you some. If you don't, I can keep going.
I got a couple here I want to throw out there. Bruce, how accurate is the scenario and how frustrating is it? The head coach, he's a head coach because he's got a feel for stuff. There has to be some of that. But the analytics department is sitting up there in the owner's booth going, Bruce screwed that up. It's 4th and 4.5 from the 39, and our sheet says he should have gone for this. How much of that's going on right now, the struggle between the head coach and the analytics guys who seem to have the owner's ear up in the booth?
I think that's why you look at this hiring cycle. You saw a lot of young guys on offense who are all analytics based because some of the owners are convinced. I don't know what analytics are. All right. Everybody says the book says go for. Who the hell wrote that book? It wasn't Lombardi. It wasn't Shula. I don't know who wrote this book. If it was Mina Kimes, Mina never played. She didn't know if the right guard can block that guy, so we go for it on 4th down. That stuff makes no sense to me. I have to laugh when Kyle got all this grief over taking the ball in overtime. Hell, I'm taking the ball too. I'm going to score a touchdown. If they score a touchdown, don't kick the field goal. It's a different game. All right. But analytics for Kansas City was explained to the players. It wasn't at the Niners. And that if there was a fault, that would be the fault because Kyle had a plan. Obviously, he had a plan. But the players didn't know it. So for me, I know that a left-handed guy can't hit a curveball and put a curveball pitcher in there. But for going for it on 4th down at the 50-yard line is absolutely ridiculous. And not kicking field goals in a big, big game. I looked back at that Detroit game. They kick field goals. They're up 3 scores.
Yep.
Question number 2. Everybody is fascinated by Tom Brady. So when he came for, I guess you'd call it a recruiting visit, when was it that you said, oh, my God, we're going to sign him?
Yeah, it was right. Tom was recruiting us as much as we were recruiting him. He knew every single thing about us. I knew he wanted to stay on the East Coast and stay close to Jack, his son in New York. And, the tax breaks in Florida, everything fit. He had a big home being built in Florida. So I knew it. We had a great football team. He was the missing piece. And So I think he recruited me as much as I recruited him. But man, it was a great time coaching him and having those years with him.
What would be the thing about dealing with him that maybe you thought you knew? Maybe I'm sitting here saying, "Oh, I knew that." That you end up going, "Man, even I didn't know that."
Tom loved being coached, and and he didn't mind being coached hard. Of course, he got that by Coach Belichick all the time. But it was. He was a great leader, and he was great with young players. I think he's a hell of a guy in the locker room. I don't think people know that, but he would take those young receivers, and I'm telling him, "Hey, man, pump your arms coming out of the break. You're dropping your arms," and he'll throw him the ball, and he'll come screaming at him, "Hey, pump your arms! I'm gonna throw the damn ball out here." And it's okay, Tom. I'll do it. So I say, "Hey, Tom, can you tell this guy something that he ain't listening to me either?"
You want a good Virginia Tech story?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I've done 2 games at Lane Stadium. One was as a sideline announcer. The other was the play-by-play guy. The sideline announcer thing, I think I'm right, was Watson's first year. First of all, it's freezing cold. It's in November. It's cold as hell. And that's a tough place to play to begin with. But one group has come off the field, and the other side, that side's going to an assistant coach, who's got the blackboard and all this. The offense is going out there, and Watson is standing there, and I'm the closest thing. I'm about 10 yards from him, and he takes the headset off and yells at me, "What the hell are we doing playing these people?"
It is. If it was a Thursday night now, Blacksburg owns Thursday night. I mean, the Hokies, they don't lose too many on Thursday night, and I've had a chance to go back now a few times and be a part of Sandman and out on the field and jump it up and down. I don't jump too high, but I don't think there's a better entrance in college football than the Sandman.
Oh my God! When they do that, it's awesome. They open against Vandy here in late August. It looked like in the last 2-3 weeks of the season, they started to get their act in gear.
They really did. I think Coach Pride done a heck of a job of just, staying with it and not panicking. Kyron Drones I'm just so happy we got to keep him. He is a dynamic quarterback, and so is the running back. And I think they all found their niche halfway through the season, and defensively got healthy. Having all those kids come back, I think we got a chance to be pretty good next year.
Yeah. I got one last thing. I'll turn it back to Kelly. When was the first time you heard Kelly do Tom Moore?
Try to second there. He and Marcus Paul.
They laugh at me when I do that. When me and Pink's been on the show. We call Marcus Pollard Pink, and Tom, man, the first time I ever saw Tom, he was nervous and he talked like this. And I'm like, I looked at Marcus. I'm like, is this serious, man? Can he talk? That's my guy. Hey,
get up running.
Get up running. Hey, Bruce, we're in Tennessee Titans country here, man. What do you think about the Brian Callahan hire? And give me a little bit of what you think about Will Levis, because everybody thinks Will Levis is going to be this and that. And I tell everybody, we got to pump the brakes, man. He's a young kid. He's got to stay healthy. He wasn't able to do that his last year at Kentucky, and he had some injury bugs this year. But just give me your thoughts on Brian Callahan and Will Levis.
Yeah, I think Brian Callahan was a great hire for him. I wasn't really in favor of Mike Vrabel being let go. I think Vrabel's a hell of a football coach, and what he did there was amazing. But Brian is really, really sharp, and I've known his dad forever. He's my age, and we've kind of been in that same coaching circle for a long time. But I think he will be great for Will Levis. Will Levis, to me, like most young quarterbacks, tried to prove to the locker room he's tough, and he's gonna get himself broken up. I told Baker this year, hey, if you're gonna do all this damn running, put some bigger pads on. We ain't paying you to run around being tough. Everybody knows you're tough. And I think all these young quarterbacks try to prove that to them and win the locker room over that I'm tough. And calm down, quit all the hollering and yelling, just throw the damn ball to the open guys.
Man, you sound just like me because I said that in the Miami game. Like, why are you trying? You threw an interception. They made a great comeback in that Miami game, but like he throws an interception and the dude's already scored and he tries to hit him. I'm like, I learned from you and Tom. 1, 2, 3, throw the ball away. And I wasn't gonna run. I'm not gonna run. And some of these guys come like nobody's teaching these guys anymore how to be a pro quarterback. Like stick your foot in the ground, hitch, and throw the football. Everybody wants to take off running. And everybody's got all these 5 stars coming out of high school. And I told somebody that was on the show, I'm like, I don't give a flip about how many stars they got. I want to see when the middle linebacker is not blocked and as a quarterback, you know he's not blocked, and you got to throw a seam route to somebody. Are you going to stand in there and get your nose busted and get up, or are you going to take off running like most of these kids do? And that's what being a quarterback's about. And you know that.
It really is. I'm shocked, Kelly, you know this. There are so many offenses in the National Football League don't have heights and sights.
Gosh, where's he at?
Blocked and they have no answers. I was shocked in the Super Bowl that Frisco wasn't ready for the blitz inside the 10 because Spagnola's coming. All right, and it's going to come for somewhere you don't really expect it, and that cost them the game, in my opinion. Not being able to handle that blitz and not blocking Chris Jones up the middle. They should have turned the widest guy loose like we always did, and give the quarterback a chance to throw it, but. Yeah, that's kind of been a thing that's kind of been phased out. And a lot of guys don't know how to teach it and think it's too hard on the quarterback. They want the guy to play without his brain. All right. I heard too many young coaches say, I want you to unplug your brain. That's how the hell you play quarterback and unplug your brain. All right. 1, 2, 3, run. All right. That ain't playing quarterback, in my opinion.
And that's the problem I had when I went to Minnesota, man. When I first started, I went into Darrell Bevel's office and I said, all right, we've got all this lined up and all these sheets that y'all put in the playbook, and we've got all these hots, but we've never practiced that. I'm like, do these guys know that they're hot on this? Well, they're supposed to. I said, well, they're supposed to. He's going to get me freaking killed and hit in the back of the head. I ain't into that, and I think that's what's missing in college football. Guys are not being taught anything. The coaches are just saying, go make a play. And that's not the way to coach. That's not the way you – and I didn't teach my son that way.
No, I think that's with all the young athletic quarterbacks, they depend so much on it. And when the guys are faster than you that you're playing against in the NFL, they have bad intentions. They're going to hurt you. And if you keep running around, you're not going to play very long. If you put your quarterback in harm's way, harm's coming.
But Bruce, I think we got to go, man. But tell T-Mac and tell T-Bowles and tell Casey Rogers and all that, and tell Tom. I've been meaning to call Tom, but I hadn't been able to talk to him. So I got to call him and see how he's doing.
He's going out to Pebble Beach with us this year. We're going to have a heck of a golf trip. And
is he really?
Yeah, Clyde Powers, and Saturday a bunch of us. Jim Lyons and Eddie Rivers, those guys are many. We all go out to Pebble every year.
Oh, you going with Saturday too, huh?
Oh, yeah. He joined the group last year.
Why can't a brother get in? I get in. Why can't I get in?
Come on in.
I mean, you're killing me, Smalls. Can't ask you, brother.
There's a reason. About me. There's a reason they have not invited you. I'll tell you what it is during the break.
Bruce, I appreciate it, man. Love you, brother.
You too, baby. Love you.
Bruce, thank you. This was fun.
You bet. Good luck with that grandchild, baby.
All right, man. Appreciate it. See you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
I knew we were in for a treat. You just knew from how he was in his coaching life. I mean, he'd tell you exactly what he thought. And I bet it was a culture shock for Brady at the beginning.
He pulls no punches, dude. Now he was like that, man. He ain't scared. He don't give a flip who you are. And I think that's what makes him who he is. I mean, you get coaches now that, George, are scared to say something to a starter or scared to say something to somebody. And I think that causes division. And when you know that a coach is going to get on to Tom Brady or going to get on to Peyton Manning, or when I was starting, I mean, he freaking used to yell at me, and I wanted to fight the guy sometimes, but like, that's what makes good coaches, because if you do wrong, they're not going to pat you on the back and say, hey, Johnny, you did, that's okay, man. You'll get it. No, we're in the professional world. You're paid to produce on the field, and you're paid to produce out here at practice. You got to show us what you can do so we can trust you. That's what's missing.
Okay, we'll go to the break. We'll actually do stat of the day a little bit late, but you know what? If you've got a choice of Bruce Arians or watching us fumble stat of the day, what would you do first? The answer is coming up in just a moment.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, here we go. Last season, Bruce Bochy became the third manager to win a World Series in both the AL and the NL, joining what other two managers?
Tony La Russa won?
Hold on here. Hold on just a second. Win a World Series. Bobby Cox won a World Series in Atlanta. Oh, gosh. I don't know if he won to win a World Series in both the AL and the NL. I thought it was Bobby Cox, but I don't think he won a World Series in Toronto. That was Cito Gaston. Whitey Herzog. Wait a minute. Whitey Herzog won in St. Louis in 82. Lost in Kansas City. Oh, gosh. Man, I'm close, but I don't think I've got any of them. One World Series. Okay, Kelly, stall around for me. Who are you thinking?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I thought Tony La Russa would be one because didn't he win one in St. Louis?
Absolutely. One in St.
And
Louis, one in
what
Oakland.
about Oakland?
Okay,
Correct.
that's absolutely one of them.
Yes.
This is good.
God,
I'm the baseball guy, and I can't come with squat. Let's see. He never won.
And it wasn't. It was. I mean, Joe Torre only won one in New York because he didn't win one in Atlanta, right? He did not win one in Atlanta.
He did not win a World
Oh,
Series in
right.
Atlanta. La Russa is one of them for sure. Oh, this is frustrating.
Did Sparky Anderson win any World Series?
Why is it you got both of them? Sparky won in Detroit in 84, won in Cincinnati in 76. There
Correct.
is your answer. Billy, let me just say up front, you don't have to reveal it. We got it. Way to go, Kelly.
Wow. Unreal.
Embarrassing.
Can you believe that, Billy?
Unbelievable.
Embarrassing on my end.
Kelly
Some of this
stepped up
is
big.
you get old, but some of it is
No,
when you're sitting here looking into a camera.
It's hard. I mean, it is hard.
It is. You know, when I did this in radio, there'd be a lot of this going on. You know, where you just sort of put your feet up and go, well, let's see. And, you know, you can, I don't know. It's just an easier thought process.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Okay, I want to ask this question. When I asked the question about the analytics geeks getting in the owner's ear,
he had a strong opinion.
He sure did. And the truth of it is, I thought he had said something earlier in the interview that led me to say, go there. Is this a big problem in the NFL?
I think it's getting to be, yeah. I think, you know, Bruce. That's where Bruce is where I learned to take the football. You know what I'm saying? Like to take the football. Now, I don't necessarily agree with him on in overtime, but he is right. If you go down and you score a touchdown, now that puts a lot of pressure on Kansas City to go down and score a touchdown, which they probably would. But you know, the way it turned out, it didn't look good on Kyle Shanahan. But now I can see where Bruce is coming from. I totally understand that, because in the old format where it was sudden death, if you score a touchdown,
right,
you know, you win the game, so you're automatically taking the ball. But now, since they changed the overtime rules, it's different. It's just playing another game. So that was different. I agree with him on the problem was when Kyle Shanahan didn't explain it to his guys. So
that didn't look good.
Yeah, it didn't look good, but I think analytics has become a huge part of every profession, George. I mean, it's getting crazy how numbers are getting into that. And I've always been, when Bruce said that about the book, Who the Flip wrote the book, because I get so irritated by when you're 15 points down and you score a touchdown, why are all these coaches going for 2 points at that point? Because if you don't get those 2 points right there, the game's over with. Why don't you keep that? You always want to keep playing the game. So if you're 15 points down, you score a touchdown, you kick a field goal. Now, if I get the ball back and I have to go for 2, then that's the game. But like when you go for 2 points right off the bat and you're 15 points, that makes no sense to me. And then he talked about Dan Campbell. He didn't say his name, but he talked about Detroit. I mean, the analytics got involved right there. He's always been a go-for-it guy, but if he kicks those field goals and they make all 3 of those field goals, they play in the NFC champion, or they play in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I think analytics is getting to be a big, huge deal in the game, and I think all these young coaches are going to analytics. I think it's a gut deal. You feel it in your gut. You know, hey, I got to go for this, or I'm not going for this early, or I'm going for 2 right now. I don't like those analytics. I'm like him, but I'm an old school guy, and he's an old school guy.
Billy, you've grown up in what I would call kind of in sports the Moneyball era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen the movie.
Yeah. I mean, money, that word Moneyball, I think that's where it's going more so than, I mean, yes, there's analytics involved, but I mean, I think a reason, I don't know if you know or Bruce ever talked about, you know, why he didn't really get out. I mean, he's still in coaching, but I'm sure if you ask Bruce, he's not a fan of where a lot of it in the NFL is going, as he talked about.
Oh.
You know, and Bruce is a good example of a lot of the older coaches. And to me, I don't like it because I think there's so many great coaches that have either been pushed out or left on their own that, you know, I think have hurt the game a little bit. And you know, the NFL is still the NFL, but he did say that, you know, most of the coaches that were hired in this cycle are young offensive minds. And he doesn't think they're bad coaches, but I don't think he likes where it's going. And I don't love where it's going either, because I think we're losing good coaches because of it. But yeah, I mean, this era, it's the trend. I mean, a lot of these owners are, what's hot, what's everybody else is doing. When I think the Titans with Vrabel had a good thing going. I'm not trying to backtrack on that, because we talked about how good the hire of Brian Callahan is and where they're going with Levis. But I just hope, there's some Titans fans that don't look back at Vrabel and say, man, we were different. Maybe we had something, maybe that could have worked. Because being different isn't a bad thing all the time.
But I think we all wanted to see them modernize a tad.
Yeah. But I mean, there's teams like the Lions. I mean, they're analytical and they had a really good offensive coordinator, but their style is still kind of that Mike Vrabel style ball, and win with great defense. And, they had a great offense, but I just hope we don't look back at Vrabel and that style and say, man, kind of want to go back to that,
Don't you think, Kelly, we're headed towards some coach slipping and letting it out? I am damn sick and tired of the nerds from whatever school, Cornell, whatever. They've got the owner's ear, and I don't.
Absolutely. I think that's probably going to happen at some point. And I want to go backtrack on what Bruce said, because I said it on this show. I mean, I thought Mike Vrabel was a good coach. I really do. I don't know what, he obviously got awry with the owner and with management. They just didn't see eye to eye. I just wish that he could have offensively been a little bit more thought provoking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all talked about it. It was archaic. And it was hard to watch. And in today's NFL, he won his first couple of years that way, but in today's NFL, if you're going to do that, you better be stout up front.
You better win.
And they were not, and that's where all that came up with. But yeah, I can see a coach saying, all these pencil neck geeks that are up there and telling me what to do. That's not going to go. I've been around this game for 40 years. I mean, Bruce coached at Temple in '83. I mean, that guy's forgotten more football than all these other guys know. And then you're going to get some guy up there who's sitting behind a desk and he's, crunching numbers up there while the game's going on, telling me whether I'm going to go for it or not. That's not happening.
I think you've got to take – I lean to the gut is 65-60. The analytics is 35-40. Because some of the analytics, to me, doesn't make sense.
But some of it does.
The 4th and 2 at midfield, where it's great if you make it. Yeah, analytics. But, boy, if you lose it, everybody runs for cover and says, why the hell did he do that?
Correct. I'm on SportsCenter the next morning talking about why I did that and why they need to get my job.
Well, because here's, Billy, you'll like this. When was the last time you saw the analytics guy who had control over the decision meet with the press after the game?
Never.
I mean, think about it.
No, that's right.
That's true. I think you're going to get one of these deals where a coach is going to get pissed off in a game where he made a decision that he really didn't believe in, and he's going to say, talk to this guy.
And Kyle Shanahan actually alluded to that in his press conference after the game, talking about, we sit down with the analytics guys and we had already gone over this, and, the analytics say that we needed to take the ball. And I don't know, it didn't turn out.
Tough world.
What'd y'all think about Bruce? I thought it was interesting. He said, they took the ball first. I would have taken the ball first. Go score.
Well, but that's
Shanahan had a plan.
That's where I learned from, Billy. That's why I always tell you when I went to the NFL, man. I mean, I learned from Bruce. Take the football.
Okay, but here's where your gut has to step in a little and say, Mahomes. Okay, this isn't
exactly.
This is not.
Yeah,
you're not playing Joe Flacco.
This is not Zach Wilson. We're playing.
Yeah,
this is a trained assassin You know, this guy is a coach killer. If he gets Bruce said it. If he gets the ball last, you're not going to stop him.
I don't agree
That
with
was
you.
a good point.
I don't agree with Bruce though. I would have deferred. That's just me. On that one, I would have deferred because of what you're talking about, George.
But
Right.
Bruce brought up something that, I don't think we talked a ton about. You give Mahomes the ball last, good luck. I mean, I thought that was a good counterpoint to, if you do, you take the ball
the
first.
analytics book isn't going to say that, but the guy at Cornell has never had to devise a defense against this guy.
Exactly.
Correct.
I mean, listen, he's becoming. Have we ever had, other than Brady, a quarterback that we were this certain of when he gets the ball in the game? We're shocked when he doesn't make it.
Correct. No, we've never seen that. Like, you always think Tom. Well, there were times when he failed, because I can remember when he was at Tampa and New Orleans. New Orleans always had their number, and
Right.
you think, well, Brady's going to bring him back. Well, he throws a pick. He wasn't 100% on that stuff, but you always think it's a
Pretty
perception. Like
close.
Michael Jordan always took the last shot, but there was sometimes he missed it. But we don't think about those. We always think about the one over Craig Elo and all those guys where he buried it and he wanted the ball in that situation. Well, Mahomes is that guy right now. And if you allow him to have the ball, more than likely he's going to beat you.
Billy?
Yep.
Right now I need Patrick Mahomes. You know where we're going.
Don't tell me you were 0 for 3 last night.
Oh, Kelly, please. I'm better than that. Not by much.
One for 2.
So I want to thank, first of all, some thank yous as we do. Did you take that off? Okay, some thank yous. I want to thank VCU for going on the road and sucking. They lost by about 20 at UMass. Are you kidding me? I want to thank UConn. After I bragged that they will win the national title again, what did they do? But, I also remember a time where Florida in the back-to-back in mid-February went to Vandy and got beat by about 20. It was the day Kevin Stallings took the ball out of Joakim Noah's hands. Remember that one?
One of the all-time great Stallings moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Perhaps a loss by UConn where they got their clock cleaned, that might be a good thing for them.
Yeah. Creighton's a good team, too. We forget about that.
Oh, they can shoot the daylights out of it. In an era where there are not a lot of great shooting teams, Creighton's one of them.
Yep.
Okay. Tonight, I've got 3 more. Kelly, much like last night, I need to go 2 out of 3.
Okay. We'll see. You went 1 out of 3 last night.
Yeah, it's not acceptable. Which is why I'm blaming it on UMass and VCU and who was the other one? UConn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If it was me, I would blame it on Billy, George.
Yeah, it's hard to though.
Blame it on Billy. He gets all the grief.
Are we prepared to go there?
Yes.
Okay.
But these graphics aren't working right now, so just verbalize it.
I'm really starting to hesitate to take road teams this year in college hoops. They're really struggling when they go on the road. I am taking a road team tonight, the Dayton Flyers, minus 2.5 at George Mason. What do I know about George Mason? He had a good first name. And they wear green. So Dayton, Dayton minus 2.5 at George Mason. Normally, I would not go where the second pick looks like I'm headed. I'm taking Alabama at home in a big spread, minus 8.5, against what appears to be an improving Florida Gators. You may be asking, why am I doing that?
Ooh.
Because Alabama seems to kick the crap out of everybody if it's at Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, I don't know how they came to that name, but the guy who
Leonard.
I don't doubt it, but the guy that put that place on the map, C.M. Newton.
C.M. Newton.
Yeah, that building is, I want to say 1969 was the first year. That building's about 55 years old and looks really good.
You don't think Whip Sanderson did?
Yeah, Wimp Sanderson's got a good
Wimp
argument.
would be in there too, so let's put a little plaid in there. Let's put Coach Newton and a little bit of plaid together. Final game. I am a big New Mexico fan.
The Lobos.
Richard Pitino. Little Ricky is now walking through that door. What do you think he thought when he saw his dad go off?
Nothing new.
I don't know. I love the quote, though. That's awesome. I can hear it every day.
Walking through that door. New Mexico's really good. They could beat the crap out of St. John's, and I think they will beat the whatever out of Colorado State, who's a pretty good team. But New Mexico at the Pit, speaking of underrated gyms in the country, New Mexico, the site of the 83 Final Four, the Pit, is one of the great arenas in this country. New Mexico at home, 2 out of 3. God knows I need it.
I feel like
We'll
every NCAA tournament Stallings made, he was out in New Mexico or somewhere out west.
He was in
Sacramento.
Phoenix, Sacramento. He was in Sacramento when he was at Illinois State and beat Tennessee.
That's a question I'd love to watch. I'd love to ask Stallings, why did you always get shipped out west in those tournament games?
Don't have the answer. Okay, we're done. Kelly, what is that? What exactly was that? Okay.
Be done. Let's go.
Or
be done.
Billy, your assignment tonight, what is it?
I don't know.
Get the graphics working tomorrow.
Streets have no names.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The great
Correct.
U2 song.
Billy, you're fined for no graphics. Every time you get no graphics, you're fined.
Nobody cares about the graphics, Kelly.
We're out of here.
Honestly.
See you tomorrow.
See y'all.